Volatility in oil rattles Middle East as oil prices roller coastered from record highs near $150 per barrel just a year ago down to $35 a barrel. Many pointed fingers at traditional scapegoats, OPEC, and the oil sheiks long connected with the group. The reasoning was that the 12-member bloc, source of more than 30% of the world's oil, was to blame for the spike. Then again, blamed as it struggled to engineer a rebound as prices fell during the start of the worst global recession in decades, if not ever. For OPEC and its key Mideast members, however, it was a question of economic survival. The price drop stunted sharp growth in Arab nations such as the United Arab Emirates, rattled deeply entrenched political systems in places like Iran and Kuwait, and endangered security and reconstruction efforts in war-ravaged Iraq. And across the region, the petrodollar-fueled subsidy programs that serve as placebos for often disgruntled people in the politically volatile region are in jeopardy. But even as oil prices staged a modest rebound, the fruit of OPEC's rare moment of unity and quota compliance, is unclear whether the producer group has come away from the year's turbulence any the wiser. Somehow, probably not. This is about oil and money. Lots of money. And, of course, greed. Greed, once again, has caused these things to happen. So, all that uncertainty carries sweeping implications for both the region and the entire world. OPEC never learns from the past, said an economist at the London-based Center for Global Energy Studies. They just don't look to the future. The end of spending sprees. OPEC's total revenue from petroleum exports climbed to slightly over $1 trillion in 2008, more than 5 times the 2002 levels, according to the group's latest annual Statistical Bulletin. From the huge man-made islands of Boomtown, Dubai, to the Iranian president's penchant for costly projects. Oil's run-up in 2007-2008 has allowed many Mideast nations to stuff their treasuries and go on lavish spending sprees, wasteful spending. Huge amounts of money being spent on dubious projects. This boom, however, has quickly turned to bust as a global economic meltdown has dampened energy demand, shaken regional stock markets and real estate, and dried up the easy credit of earlier years because of all the greed. The price collapse in the second half of 2008, which wiped out some 4 years of gains in just 5 months, was a very sobering thing for OPEC, said the chief economist at Oppenheimer and Company. These guys were spending money like it grew on trees. For the most part, they were the typical super rich people who go out and spend money on a lot of stupid things, he said. OPEC scrambled to formulate a response initiating a supposed rapid-fire series of supply reductions aimed at cutting production by 4.2 million barrels from September levels. OPEC's members largely adhered to the new output quotas. But still, the price of oil, well, the price of a barrel of oil is now too low. Oil companies and nations are not investing in new exploration. They're not finding any more new oil fields, and they're just going to siphon the ones they have dry. Then what? No planning for the future whatsoever? Only for today. So has it become just about money for today? Make as much as you can and not worry about the future. Anyway, so now there's a greater recognition by consumer nations that producers need some kind of market security and stability, said one OPEC expert. That's helped the producer side in terms of not being constantly criticized for wanting higher prices. Calls for stricter oversight. Western leaders have begun to seize upon the speculation theme. The French president and the British Prime Minister, in a joint letter published recently in the Wall Street Journal, have called for stricter oil market oversight. U.S. market regulators at the same time have called for more transparency in oil trades, a point repeated by the Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner as he met with Saudi and UAE officials during his Mideast trip this week. Even so, OPEC's victories may be fleeting. Some even wonder if the group can remain unified once demand, or if demand starts to pick up. That could be a big if. So OPEC will act only when they're under pressure, when they're really up against the wall. Sticking together becomes easier, he added, when you've got lower oil prices. If anything, the volatility in prices between 2008 and 2009 has reinforced Saudi Arabia's conviction about the importance of building cash reserves that are liquid. Anyway, there is no master plan, no economic plan for really improving the region, the Mideast. With that plan, the dividend would be peace with their neighbors, democracy, but this is something they like to skirt and sweep under the rug, said one economist. And there are many internal problems with OPEC. But anyway, OPEC needs to view oil as finite. You cannot have a welfare state forever. Something has to take over. Something has to give. Something has to change somewhere. This system, or these systems, they're wrong in some kind of way. They become broken if they were ever fixed. Systems based on greed can no longer stand. And these are more signs of the end times, transition days. And everything is connected.